started. And the first question will come from the AJC's Sarah Spencer.
Hey, John, what's up?
Sarah, what's going on? I'm good.
Awesome. So over these last, I guess, this 9-month layoff, I've asked you a few times what this team could use, and you've said a few times you needed maybe a few veterans to kind of show some young guys the way. What are your thoughts on this new roster and its potential this season based off the guys you've added?
Yeah, definitely for a guy like me who's had 3 rosters, who sort of had turnover every year, it's nice to see a Gallo, a Rondo, Bojan, Bogey, Chris Dunn, got Solo, have Tony Snell. Glad to see a lot of those guys, Clint as well. Glad to see all those guys in the locker room, and it gives us a much-needed veteran presence, and I'm all for it.
All right, next question from Chris Kirschner with The Athletic.
Hey, John.
Chris.
I wanted to know, so since March, you guys have been talking about making the playoffs and the next steps needed to reach that goal. Over the past few weeks with free agency and the draft, do you feel like this roster is capable to reach that goal ultimately at the end of the season?
Yeah, definitely. Although we're not perfect, I feel like a lot of the holes are glaring holes that we were trying to fill this offseason are patched up very well. Obviously, there's a chemistry factor and just an on-court factor that we all need to get together, which comes with time. But I feel like with what we have now, very impressive and nice depth, and like I said, veteran leadership. So I'm looking forward to all those positive things.
Okay, our next question will come from Zach Klein of WSB.
Hey, man, I know you've wanted to get this deal done for a while, you and your team. Travis said, conversations are happening. How much of that is on the forefront of your mind, and how much you communicating with the team, like, let's just get this done, move on, and, I want to be here forever?
Yeah, Z, what's going on, man? No, yeah, definitely. Every time I come into the gym, that's definitely the first thing on my mind. And obviously, my agents, and the Hawks are working, every day to try to get to a deal and agreement. So I'm trying to stay optimistic, trying to, like I said, stay positive and develop, bonds with my new teammates. And that's all I can really do until this gets sorted out.
Next question from the AJC's Steve Hummer.
Yeah, John, I don't know if you've had any firsthand experience of Rajon's, I guess, legendary intelligence on the court. Do you have any anecdotes about running into that? And how much are you looking forward to having that on your side?
Yeah, not too much in terms of competing against him, but obviously being around him in the facility and whatnot, and just watching him, in his heyday in Boston, what he just did in LA, just trying to absorb that. And like I said, just being around him is going to help a lot. And I'm just excited to play with a guy like that. I know he's very unselfish in the way he plays, so it's going to help our team a lot.
Next question from the AP, Charles Odom.
John, when you guys last gathered as a team, you were preparing for what was referred to as the deleted 8, and now obviously expectations are going to be much different. Can you just talk about maybe what maturity is going to be required for you guys to handle what's going to be a much different set of expectations this season?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like those expectations are raised because of the veteran leadership, because of Coach McMillan being on our staff, and now we have all our rooks. We're taking that next year, that second year jump. So I feel like the expectations are high on all of us. We've shown potential, and we've shown just flashes of greatness. And now we've added other solid NBA players, veterans who have proven themselves in this league. So I just feel like when you just look at our team on paper, and then you look at our ages, and you look at all the positives, your mind just starts to race. And I feel like we're there too. We're excited, but we need to, for our young guys to grow up a little bit. And I feel like for the older guys, just give that experience and lend their knowledge to us.
We'll go back to Sarah Spencer.
John, you guys are in such a unique situation with only weeks, days until, the preseason and then the season starts. With a completely revamped roster, basically, how do you build enough chemistry in this short amount of time in order to be ready to take things by storm come game time?
Yeah, obviously, right now things are a little bit, a lot different than they normally are. So, the answer to that is just getting on-court time together. And like I said, obviously things are a little bit jumbled up right now, and we're doing what we can inside the facility to try to just keep in shape and keep ready. But that's really it. Playing together, building that chemistry, talking to one another, and just knowing your teammate leads onto the court. I'm a big believer in that. So that's what it's going to take.
One quick follow-up. Last season, you guys struggled a little bit with maybe talking enough on the court. How much do you think that will be alleviated by having more experienced guys out there, and maybe Rondo too, to lead the second unit, but just overall?
No, definitely. Having those guys here is contagious. That's one thing the word coaches like to use is talking is contagious, and I feel like that helps our young guys build good habits as well as myself. We have a whole group of guys talking and covering for each other that helps on offense and defense, and just gives our whole team a morale boost. So I'm all for that as well.
Thank you.
Next to Jamila Johnson from ATLHawksFans.com.
Hey, John, how are you?
No, good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So my question is, last year in the off season, how's your training, or is it different at all from the off season of last year to this year? And if so, specifically, what have you been working on and trying to improve upon?
In terms of what I do on court, I'd say trying to work on more perimeter oriented things, more ball handling, defending guards, trying to become quicker. But in terms of things being different, I'd say the only thing that's truly different is more individual workouts. Obviously, trying to keep space 6 feet apart, and all these COVID rules kind of limit what we can do in the gym. So I'd say it's a little bit more heavier on the individual side and less team. And I feel like that's been the biggest difference.
We'll go to Edwin Powell with Hawks Beat.
Hey, what's going on, John?
Hey, it was good.
Hey, just wanted to see, what was your kind of reaction during this whole free agency process as the names kept coming in? I think Travis ended up with about 4 or 5 new guys. Was there one guy where you were like, oh, okay, just want to know what your kind of reaction was during the free agency process?
Not saying that I was any more surprised than anyone else, but I wasn't expecting Rajon to leave the Lakers just after coming off a championship and all that stuff. I usually thought that was a sign and sealed, but that was the one I was surprised about and extremely happy about. Obviously, I felt like we needed another ball handler, needed another leader, needed someone with extreme experience and someone who's just been there, and he's got all those things. So if anyone, I was super excited to get Doan in the building.
Back to Chris Kirschner.
We're 3 weeks away from the contract deadline, December 21st. Ultimately, how optimistic are you that a deal will get done before that day?
I'm as optimistic as I can be. I try to come into the facility, put my best foot forward every single day, work out with my guys. And, for me, it's just trying to go home, and think about positive things. I try to dwell on if it's not or if it is, and just wait for it to happen, because I know ultimately I have no control over it. What I've done is done, and I have to let the conversations be had and wait my turn. So it's just a lot of waiting, and that's probably been the worst part.
I did have a follow-up. So you said it on multiple occasions how you feel like you're a max player who's deserving of that kind of contract. Do you still feel that way as of today? Or have you budged at all? Would you be comfortable if a max contract offer wasn't presented your way?
I guess that's with all within the negotiation, right? But definitely, I feel like I put my best foot forward for this organization, and I feel like that's definitely within the conversation. To say if I budged or not, I'm not really too sure. But I just feel like with, our relationship and my relationship with the organization, I feel like we have nothing but positive things, or nothing but, positive area to grow with. So I'm just leaning on that. And like I said, just hoping we can come to an agreement before the season starts.
Back to Zach Klein.
Hey, John, to kind of follow up what Sarah was talking about earlier about the camaraderie of the team, do you think maybe a blessing with all these COVID rules is the fact that the guys after games can't go out and kind of go their separate ways? Are you guys are in this self-contained bubble at these hotels and kind of forced to hang out with one another and kind of learn and hang out with different guys who normally maybe not at home and on the road?
Yeah, with everything, I always, I'm an even guy, right? So I always look at the positives and the negatives. Some guys' routine is going out and having a nice night out, and that's how they unwind and relax. So, some guys could take a negative effect to it. Other guys like me who don't mind staying inside and playing Xbox and going to the gym and coming back. I don't think it will affect. But like I said, for each person, it's different. So it's going to be interesting to see, how guys react to the new rules, as you were saying. So I think this team will be good, though.
Okay, next question from Dwayne Rankin from Arizona.
Sorry about that. John, you guys haven't played in forever. So is there any benefit in that at all? And then what's the drawbacks to that? And how eager are you personally to finally play when you've seen the bubble, haven't played since March? I mean, how eager are you to get back on the floor?
I'm always eager. I love the game. I love competing. I love competing with my teammates. But as I said earlier, good and bad to good. Obviously, more rest on our body, more time to work on our game, more time to evaluate, watch film, and get better on the other side. We haven't played in who knows how long at this point, and we are rusty. And I feel like it's going to take some sort of adjustment for us to get back to regular status. But I feel like that's with every year and every restart. This year, obviously, different rules, so we'll adjust.
Thank you, sir.
Back to Steve Hummer.
Yes, kind of following up on that question, John, how did you react to being excluded from the restart of basketball, and how did you spend the time? Did you watch much basketball? And really, just how did you kill the time?
Oh yeah, I definitely watched most of all the games. Like I said before, I love the game. I could sit there and watch the games all day. I feel like I'm studying guys and watching film. So, that's nothing for me. But obviously, hurt to not be there, but giving me that much motivation when I wake up every morning and go get my workout in. I'm coming back knowing that I'm watching the guys, so I'm going to be competing again. So sort of a mental game I put with myself, just try to keep my edge.
Thanks.
Next question from Ben Steiner.
Hey, John, last year you shot 40% from three, something we probably don't get enough credit for. How do you assess yourself as a three-point shooter, and where are you at in terms of maybe more volume? I mean, you shot about 4 threes a game last year. Is that something you and coach have talked about, maybe becoming even a higher volume shooter?
Yes and no, right? So it's all about the confidence, right? Shot selection. I feel like those two things are in pretty well standing, and now it's all about getting more reps, getting those sort of close range contested threes, or just being able to shoot whatever shot I want with confidence. And I feel like that's the next step. Percentages and whatnot are great. They look nice, but at the end of the day, can you rely on me to make a real shot in game is the question. So I feel like confidence and shot selection are the two biggest things. And if I can keep those going, I shouldn't have a problem around that line because I feel like my touch is good enough.
Back to Sarah Spencer.
John, how do you feel like you and Gallo will fit together, and what can you guys do to maximize that fit? I mean, you might play together, you might not, but what can you guys do to maximize that?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing we can do to maximize it, if anything, is understand each other's games when we do get on the court. I feel like, as we all know, Gallo's an extremely skilled guy, very tall, ability to shoot the ball. I feel like he's just a smart player, and I feel like our chemistries work well together. Great ball handler, great roller out of their pick and roll, as well as I'm a roller. And so I feel like it creates a lot of dynamics, like I said, on the court, having a guy like Trey or Rondo being able to create and set up with both of myself and Gallo, I feel like is going to be dangerous. So I'm excited to work with him, and he's a great leader as well.
Thank you.
Back to Charles Odom with the AP.
Kind of following up on that, I can only imagine how much time Lloyd Pierce has spent looking at this new roster and coming up with different combinations. And I wonder if you do the same, and you wonder about how you guys might, might work everybody in. There's so much depth, so many combinations.
Yeah, that's something that, I feel like is going to be a natural question. I feel like we're all interested to see how we're going to mesh together. And like I said, I feel like that takes time, especially with the depth of guys that we have now. But it also creates a competitive edge, and I feel like it gives guys that mindset that every possession counts, and that if I do mess up, I do whatever, there's another guy on the bench that could potentially take my spot. So I feel like that all feeds the competitive nature, and is going to help us in the long run.
Back to Chris Kirschner.
I know you wanted to work on ball handling and playmaking ability this offseason. Where do you feel like you are right now? Would you feel comfortable, say, you grab a rebound on the defensive side of the court? Are you able to now go coast to coast, or is that something that's still a work in progress?
I feel like, not saying I haven't done it or haven't worked on it, but I feel like just the dynamic of our team isn't really built for me to do so, especially now with Chris Dunn, with Trey, with Kevin Huerter, Gallo now. A lot of guys who can do that for me. Obviously, we know that my better ability is to rim run and be off the ball, but I definitely feel like that's going to be in the game, me catching a rebound and running into a pick and roll, or trying to attack, maybe taking a top of the key three, are all within the range of things that I'm doing. But our team dynamic is just so versatile that I feel like all those options could be seen at any time.
Sarah?
You touched on this a little bit earlier, John, but how much can it, I guess there's positives and negatives from adding so many, talented veterans who are going to get a lot of playing time, because you've still got some young guys who want to keep developing. How much will it help you guys that, those young guys are going to have to compete for minutes, or maybe the minutes that they do get will be more meaningful, but, you also want to make sure those guys keep developing?
No, for sure. Like I said before, I touched on a little bit. I think it's going to help a lot. Not only are those older guys going to compete, but they're going to lend knowledge, and they're going to try to hopefully, right, build up our young guys. And I feel like that's the whole point and goal of having those guys here, is for their experience on court and their experience off the court, that we can grow and absorb. So at the end of the day, I feel like, the young guys are always going to be given opportunities, right? But at the end of the day, whoever's fulfilling their duties on the court is going to play. And like I said, I feel like that just fulfills more of that competitive nature that we want to build here. So I'm all for it.
Is that just the nature of the team getting better? The roster getting better and wanting to win now?
No, exactly. In the older days in the NBA, guys were 4-year guys, and even still, those 4-year guys would come in and they wouldn't play for 2 or 3 years. Obviously, the league is younger now, and I feel like that attributes to some of the things that we're seeing. But obviously, great to have these guys into the gym, and hopefully that can alleviate that problem.
Thank you.
Raphael Haynes.
Sean, what's going on? How you doing, man? I hope the family is well.
Thank you, sir. Rob, good to see you again, as always.
Yes, sir. So, you told me in the off season that you wanted to make the All-Star this year. That was a goal. You wanted you and Trey to make the All-Star.
Sure.
It was a handful of guys. You was part of a handful of guys that averaged 21 and 10. What do you think it would take this year to get to that point? Winning cures all. And I feel like that's really it. I feel like with how we play, what Trey and I are able to do, people like to watch us. I feel like our basketball is explosive, it's fun. So if we can win games, I feel like it gives us all aspects that people want to see in All-Stars, a show and a spectacle, but also that leadership and that ability to close out and win games. And now with the roster that we have, I definitely feel like it's really attainable. So it's on us now. So and also you've had Trey, and you and Trey have that chemistry as far as alley-oops and knowing where you are. But now you add Rondo. Have you thought about having the effect of having 2 players, if not 3, with Dunn, to throw you that lob and just to have that chemistry with your point guards, all of them?
Of course, man. You always dream of having a guy like Rondo, because Rondo is a true, in my opinion, pass first guy. Obviously, a true leader, a true cerebral floor general. But his game is really centered around, like I said, setting his teammates up, finding the hot guy, finding the open guy, and
You know, Trey is great and amazing, but there's always a place for a guy like Rondo to come in and set the table and allow Trey to get off the ball, give him a break, and it just alleviates our team and gives us less stress, so we can go out there and play and don't have to worry too much about things. So I'm super excited to have him on board. I can't stress that enough.
And our final question will come from Sarah Spencer.
John, you guys are obviously, looking at the roster, you guys are obviously going to score. Do you think this team did enough to get better defensively? Whether that's returning guys getting sharper or, adding Chris Dunn or whatever. How important is that? And did you guys do enough to improve enough defensively?
No, definitely. I feel like with the reputation that we've built, people don't give us too much credit for what we have on our roster right now in Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, who are two young, great wing defenders, in my opinion. We add Tony, we add Chris, Solomon, Rondo, Bogey, crafty, savvy defender, and obviously Gallo, not known for being a defender, but however many years Gallo's been in the league now, he obviously knows what he's doing and has some level of experience. So I feel like all that takes into account more than people give us credit for, and I'm excited for us to go out there and compete defensively, and I feel like that's going to help us take